welcome. Another live stream. I missed the last couple weeks. It's been, I got sick, which didn't help anything. And then it's just been a busy time for me here. I normally, for the last few years, I have done a, oh, you can hear me over there. I suppose I can turn off I don't need to have the YouTube stream going over here. But I, in the past, have done a live event on the anniversary of my dad's passing, which is today. So today, 5 years ago, my father passed away, and I like to have it be a positive. I like to focus on good things during that time. And for the last few years, I've been doing these big events. You know, started with the first one, the Mindset of Weight Loss, which was a 5-day event. My first event out of the gate, I went 5 days. Everybody that is in my world is like, you're nuts. And I'm like, I know. I don't care. But then I did it again. And I really, really got a lot out of it. And this year I was planning to do it again, another big live event. But this year's been hard, emotionally. Other than probably the first year of my dad's passing, this one's been the hardest. And I think it's because it's a milestone year. I mean, 5 years after he passed, that seems like a substantial chunk of time, like the first substantial chunk of time mile marker. You know, 1 year is not that much time. Really, it's not. 2 years didn't quite feel like it. 3 was starting to feel like it, but I mean, it's not that long. 4, getting there on the line, but 5 years, that's half a decade. Half a decade has transpired, and what do I have to show for it? The reality is I have a lot. I have a lot to show for it. Which has weirdly been making me have grief more because I want to tell my dad about it, about all the things that I've done since he died. But I can't. I mean, I can tell him about it. But what I really want to hear is I want to hear him say something back. That's the thing I want, the thing I can't have. But such is the way with grief. Such is the way with grief. So, anyway, I've got some things we're going to talk about here in the live show today. It'll be a little bit more on that. I just knocked down my picture of my dad and I. I got to pick I'm going to pick that up. But I got the topic today is grief, emotional healing, and weight loss. 1 second while I pick up that picture. Okay, we're back. We're back. All right, hey, if you're new here to the YouTube channel, to the live streams, want to invite you to subscribe, like. If you enjoy the videos, feel free to do that. And actually, you know what? We're going to go live on TikTok again. I actually think this would be a good live stream for that. And then we're going to take, as I like to do each week, we're going to take some questions. So what I want you to do in the chat, we already had a question asked earlier. So we are going to address. So the first one I saw in the comment was, oh, that's way too small. Was from Tina. So I'm going to address that question. But 1 second, I'm going to go grab my tripod for my phone. See? Super quick. Very painless to grab that. And I will talk while I get this ready. So Tina's question. First, so she was... I did indeed shout out Tina on the podcast. This week, which, by the way, if you've not checked out the podcast, you can find a link to that at chrisstarcoaching.com. I got a listening guide if you've not listened to the podcast, but I also have You can just search for Chris Terrell Podcast and find it. All right. Let's see here. So let me go in here into TikTok. Yeah, over here. We're going to go start a live stream. And, we're not doing brutal weight loss truths this time. We are going to do emotional healing and weight loss. I love voice to text. Isn't it best? Like, voice to text is just so awesome. 3, 2, 1. Hi, TikTok. No one's here, so I'm talking to nobody, but I'm starting a live stream. If you want to be a part of it more in depth, you can come to YouTube. All right, so Tina, let's now talk about your question, though, which is, I can't read it. I got to move that where I can read that a little easier. All right. So you wanted to know if I could explain more the process of intuitive eating, and you want to learn how to not eat when stressed. So some of what I'm going to talk about today will definitely be relevant with this. I'll just make this a little smaller here even still. That way it's not quite so domineering. Hey, TikTok. Hey, if you want to get involved, I'm on a live stream over here with YouTube. So if you want to come on over to YouTube, you can just go to the link in bio. You'll find a link there, Chris Terrell Coaching. So intuitive eating. Intuitive eating involves letting your hunger be your guide regarding when you eat. That's what intuitive eating is, so to speak. There's a great book, great workbook, if you want to learn more about it. So if you're wanting to go the self-help, self-taught route, there's a couple of choices. First is this book. It's the one I used, the Intuitive Eating Workbook. I didn't do the worksheets, full disclosure. I did a few of them, then I thought they were dumb because I don't think worksheets are that helpful. That's why I don't make many, because I don't think they're that helpful. I think people fill out worksheets and then they never look at them again, and the worksheet didn't do much. But the information's helpful. And I think the questions that the worksheet has are good because it's good to pause and ponder your question. But here's the thing about intuitive eating that I think some people get wrong. They think intuitive eating is easier than tracking calories to lose weight. It's not. It's not easier. Like, not at all. You have to pay attention to quite a bit more. And the things that you're paying attention to are really subjective. You're not paying attention to like when you're paying attention to calories, it's really easy to know what you're eating. It's calories. They add up. But you'll discover real quick when you're trying to learn about hunger, it's really subjective and it's not exactly the same and it's really inconsistent. So you have to take notes. You have to study yourself. So you may not be tracking calories, but you certainly need to track how you feel. You need to track your hunger, and you've got to practice regularly letting your hunger tell you when to eat. There's more to it than what I'm talking about, all right? I'm not giving an entire masterclass on intuitive eating right here. But that's one area that people get it wrong. The other area that I think people get it wrong with intuitive eating is they think you can't track calories and intuitive eat. If you're tracking calories, you're not intuitive eating. That's not intuitive eating. You're not intuitive eating because you're tracking calories. You know, if you were intuitive eating, you wouldn't be tracking calories. And I'm like, why do you think so little of me? Like, why do you think you think I'm so small-minded that I can't do both? I can do both. I can work on both. Because the way I look at it is if you're 300 pounds, it's obvious. You can't trust your intuition. If you're 300 pounds, you can't intuitively eat. You don't know how. If you did, you'd be doing it, right? I'm assuming none of you looked in the mirror and said, you know what? I'm not going to be happy till I'm 300 pounds. I want to be 300 pounds. I don't think any of you did that. I didn't do that. Did you? No, I bet you didn't. Your intuition results in you gaining weight. So it's like we have to readjust your intuition. However, you're also 300, 350 pounds. So you're 100, 200, 300 pounds overweight, depending what size you are starting, right? And so here's the way I look at it. I want to intuitively eat because that is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to get to the place where you're intuitive eating. No one wants to, I don't want anybody calorie tracking for the rest of your life. That's dumb. That's the ultimate goal. However, you're 350, 400 pounds. I know you probably would like to lose some weight in the meantime. So this is why I take the approach of let's intuitively eat and lose weight at the same time. And not either or, and let's lose weight and lose weight. And sometimes the best way to do that is we got to introduce some calorie tracking. But you can still let your hunger be your guide. So, now this is the book. If you want to learn more about how I approach it in depth, coming to the Guild is going to be the best place to do that. Hashtag guildofchampions.com. And that'll, I don't know why I did the hashtag. You don't need the hashtag. I enjoyed doing it. But guildofchampions.com, and you can learn about the Guild. But that would be the best place where I teach you in depth. I've got over 250 hours of content in there teaching about weight loss. And then we do live meetings. You got the community, you got the support. I mean, it's only for people that are next level. It's only for people that are taking weight loss seriously. If you're like, I don't know, maybe I'll do it. Maybe it'll work. No, don't join. It won't work. No. If you're like, maybe this will be the thing that solves it for me. It won't. If you're like, I'm ready to do this and I'm going to lose weight, but I want to make sure that it actually happens, then the Guild is for you. Now the Guild is for you. But if you're just like, I don't know, I'll join it for a month, see what I think, then I'll probably bounce, maybe I'll watch all the videos and go, no, don't even join. Just save your money. Like, I don't want it. Like, I only want people in the Guild that are like serious and ready to go, ready to make changes to their lives. If you just kind of are thinking about losing weight, keep consuming the free stuff. The free stuff is for you, right? You got 160 podcast episodes. You've got years of TikToks that are designed to be coaching style. I don't lean too heavily into the chasing the trends on TikTok. You'll notice about that with mine. Like, I have no problems posting something that I know the algorithm's not going to give me all the views for, but I know that it matters to those that listen. So you'll find all that on the TikTok. And then I got blogs. Then I got a free Facebook group. It's like I've given tons of free content for those of you that are just interested in losing weight. You're wanting to get started. And those of you, my lone wolves, you can get a lot done with that too. However, if you're ready to go next level, come to the Guild. Hey, all of y'all over here, you don't know this, but I'm in a live stream over on YouTube. That's why I'm not responding to you all right here. So if you want to interact, head on over to YouTube, Chris Terrell Coaching on YouTube. Sorry, everybody. I got to pause because, here, you can say hi to TikTok. TikTok, meet YouTube. YouTube, meet TikTok. I'm happy to let you all meet each other. All right. Let's put you back. I love this little tripod for the record. All right. Let's see. Let's go to the chat. Let's see if we had any other questions. Oh, yeah. Yes, we did. We did. Go further back. Oh, and Tina, yes, you did a follow-up. Sorry for lost my dad. Thank you very much. Thank you. We will be talking more about him. Oh, Hope and Sam, good together. Hey, glad to hear you all together. Congrats, Sam, on the race. Hey, Hope, do me a favor. Type in, I did not see the final post on Facebook to hear how your triathlon went. So the last update I saw is you were getting your shoes. Sam was getting her shoes on to go do the run. So I definitely want to hear how the rest of it went. Thank you, Larry. I said it's been 5 years since my dad passed, so I'm in a good place with it. Thank you. I believe my dad would be proud of everything I'm doing. I definitely do. Mr. and Mrs. Green. Let's see. At 51, finally understand my weight had more to do with my emotions than it ever did with just eating. Crazy simple, and yet immensely hard all at the same time. So true. So true. All right. Cherry G. Why do I think diet culture demonizes calorie tracking? I've been doing it for 22 days and found it so helpful and freeing. I can have balance and still find success. I've lost 14 pounds so far. Why do so many people demonize calorie tracking? That's a good question. Hey, y'all, if you want to come on over where we get the good audio quality with this, go to YouTube. So before I answer that first, if you like this, you want to get more streams like this, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified anytime I go live here on YouTube. But as far as to answer your question, here, I'm gonna move that up here. There we go. We'll leave that here for people watching. So this is an interesting question. Why do people demonize tracking? Because there's not one reason. There's not one reason. So there's a few reasons that I've seen. Some of it is you have people that in their minds, calorie tracking is disordered. They look at it as, I got too obsessed with the numbers, and they've decided in their head that that's a negative. It's not. It's not positive either. It's just an action. But a person has decided that that is negative. And that's why. That's a big reason why for a lot of people. I look at calorie tracking as positive, right? I don't look at it as in I think it's okay to be a little obsessed with it. I mean, y'all, you know what happened when I got a little obsessed with my money? I have a lot. You know, I started all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm saving for retirement. All of a sudden, I'm living below my means. All of a sudden, I'm getting out of debt. All of a sudden, I have an emergency fund. All of a sudden, I'm able to pay all my bills. All of a sudden, whenever I go to my bank account, there's money there. You know why? Because I got obsessed. I got obsessed with making sure that I'm managing my money. I didn't get obsessed with having money. I got obsessed with managing it because I discovered if I manage my money, it affects my entire damn life. Why is it bad to be obsessed with my calories? Because I noticed as I got obsessed with my calories, not just obsessed with knowing the calories, I got obsessed with managing my calories. But it wasn't because I was obsessed with managing my calories. I was obsessed with managing my body. And a lot of people are not at a place where they're ready to take full responsibility for their body. A lot of people aren't at a place where they're ready to take full responsibility for their actions. They still want to go around blaming shit. Every day, I have people coming into a comment. Like I made a video the other day talking about the importance of going on walks. And I get somebody that comes into my comment section and says, Chris, you need to stop posting harmful comment like this, because some of us have PCOS and we can't lose any weight. What on earth does that have to do with anything? Since PCOS is not some insurmountable obstacle, lots of people overcome it. But by the way, more than likely the PCOS was created from you becoming overweight. It wasn't the PCOS created the overweight. It was the other way around more than likely, and you just don't know that. But so I think a lot of people demonize calorie tracking because they don't want to take personal responsibility for their actions, to be perfectly honest. And calorie tracking makes you do that. It shines a spotlight on the fact that you're about to choose to eat 1,500 calories for lunch. And when you see that you're about to eat 1,500 calories for lunch and you're like, that's 2/3 of my daily allotment. And you're like, well, if I see that, I can't blame my lack of weight loss on PCOS. I can't blame my lack of weight loss on the fact that I'm too busy at work. I can't blame my lack of weight loss on the fact I'm so stressed from my kids. No, because you're about to eat 1,500 calories that you know damn well you don't got the calories for that day. But when you do calorie tracking, you see that. So what do? We demonize the behavior rather than dealing with the emotions that we have internally about the fact that we don't want to take personal responsibility for our actions. We instead reflect that out and we go attack the thing that's causing us to have to face these uncomfortable feelings. Here's a way I'd like to look at it. A person comes up and says, you did something wrong. And rather than going and pausing and hearing that you did something wrong and you harmed someone as a result of it and feeling all those feelings, you get mad and attack them. Why would you tell me that? That makes me feel so bad. And maybe you don't do that. Maybe you've seen someone do that. But this is what I see people do with calorie tracking. They blame and get mad at calorie tracking for all it does is show you the reality of what you're about to do. And a lot of people don't want to live in reality. They want to live in fantasy land where the weight gain wasn't their fault at all. Look, I'm not saying weight is 100% yours or anybody else's fault. I'm not saying that. I don't want to imply that. I don't want anybody to take that. It is more than likely not all anybody's fault. More than likely not. And by the way, I keep looking over here, YouTube, in case you come in late, because this is the TikTok live stream. By the way, TikTok, come on over to YouTube. We can interact with you more over there. But calorie tracking, all it does is bring your conscious awareness to reality. And then you can make decisions at that point how you're going to approach reality. But if you want to live in a fantasy land, calorie tracking is going to fuck up your fantasy. I mean, that's just how it is. So why do I think diet culture demonizes it? I don't think it's diet culture that demonizes calorie tracking. I think it's the healthy at every size movement that demonizes calorie tracking. I think it's the anti-fat support groups that demonize calorie tracking. I think it's those that want to be hyper protective. I think we're too protective of people. I think the fact that we're like, I went to my doctor and I got triggered because I saw the weight. I'm like, that's not the problem. Isn't the doctor? The problem is your thoughts. That's the problem. Like, you need to see that. If seeing reality causes you to get so upset that you then double down in making your reality worse, a diet's not going to fix that. A diet's not going to fix that at all. So my advice, if you get struggled with calorie tracking, is ask yourself, am I upset because I don't want to see reality, or is it something else? Because it could be something else. I just picked one of the ones I see that are the most common. There's other reasons why people demonize calorie tracking. 100% that I see. Plenty of that. So, yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked that. I got to hop up there on a little bit of a soapbox. I see some people over here in the TikTok. They're like, oof, truth. But like Michael, you said, for me, I get discouraged and give up. Why would you get discouraged knowing the reality? Like, if you know reality, you can make adjustments and actually do something about it, right? Like, if you live in a fantasy land, you can't do anything. All right, let's see. Vogan, is it fine to join the guild even at the beginning of the weight loss journey? Yes. Oh, very much so. It's designed for people at the beginning of the weight loss. It's actually designed for everybody at every phase. I did it that way because I wanted something to support you throughout your entire journey. So 100% it is. Jesus, I seem to suck at finding out my exact calorie needs for weight loss. Any chance I can help you find out? Yes. Head on over to caloriecalculator.net or calculator.net and enter your information there. It's really simple. It's really easy. Let me see. Do I have a screen share one set up? I think I do. Let me see what happens when I click this button. Yeah. So tell you what, I will demonstrate it right now. I'll show you. Oh, I think you all just saw where my wife said she loved my butt. Sorry, y'all. I just did a text there. All right. Let's see here. P.S. My wife does. Hashtag. By the way, everybody, you know what? Something else that's great. My wife and I were talking about this morning. Being married to somebody where you both like each other is so fun. Just in case you didn't know that, like, that's so much more fun than being in a marriage where you both don't like, or one of you or both of you don't like each other, which I've done. Yeah, when you both like each other, marriage is awesome. All right, let me pull this up. All right, so calculator.net. Let's see, we're gonna go here. Screen share. All right, so you come here. They have free online calculators. So we're gonna come down here to calorie calculator right there, and then you put in your stats. So let's say you are a 35-year-old female, 5'5", and you weigh 235 pounds, we'll say, and you currently only exercise 1 to 3 days a week, and you're maybe only taking, I don't know, we'll say you're taking like 2 to 5,000 steps a day, we'll say. That puts you in this vicinity. We hit calculate, and here you can see now it gives you a calorie target. Now, my advice is pick the number between the 1,900 and 1,400. Just land somewhere in between there. If you're somewhere in between there, over the course of 2 weeks, you should experience some weight loss. How much weight loss? I don't know. But you should experience some. You should experience some weight loss if you do that. But good question. So that's how I would figure out the calories, is by going there. And hey, by the way, TikTok, if you want to interact with me, head on over to YouTube, Christo Coaching on YouTube. That's where we are right now. That's where I'm taking the questions, which if you haven't noticed, that's why I'm not really responding to you and barely even looking at you. All right, back to the YouTube comments. Let's get some questions. First time seeing you. If you're talking to me, hi, good to see you. Let's see, keep going. Catherine, thank you so much for the shout out to the guild. It was good to see you in Philly. Sam says, thank you. We posted her crossing the finish line a little later on. All right, I'm going to go find that because I want to watch that. Oh, so proud of you. I heard You hurt your back the day before. So bravo, Sam, for continuing on. Bravo. Not just tapping out, going and showing up what you had. All right. Mary O'Rourke. How much would a binge night set somebody back in your opinion? How much does one night of binging set someone back? So here's the beauty. One night of binging won't set you back too far, providing the rest of the week's all right. Will you lose weight that week? One night could 100% make it. You could eat enough calories in a night that you won't lose any weight that week. That is 100% achievable. So if you want to get that achievement of eating enough in 1 week that despite being in a deficit the rest of the days you just maintain weight, you can have that achievement if you'd like. What makes a binge a problem is an individual will often binge, and then the next day they'll feel so bad about it and feel so bad in their head that the individual will then double down. And they'll binge even more, and they'll continue to make it even worse. That's what poses to be the problem. Whereas if you just have a bad night and then just get right back to it, you'll probably be okay. Again, you might not lose weight that week, but often, again, consider this. When you're trying to lose weight, you're probably in a deficit already. So let's say you're 500 calories down, and let's say you're doing it every day. Well, by the time you get to the end of the week, 5, 10, 15, 20, you're 2,500 calories. Let's say you're 5 days in the week. You are 2,500 calories into the deficit land for the week. Because it's calories per week, not calories per day. And so let's say you have a bad night and you overeat. Let's say your budget was 1,500 calories. We'll do this for easy math. Your budget's 1,500 calories. You've done 1,500 every day. Friday night comes around and you have 2,200 calories. So you went over by 700, and you're over here just like kicking the tar out of yourself in your head. And don't get me wrong. If you binge, you need to deal with this. You need to recognize you did a behavior that was not okay. And you need to own up to it, and you need to go, why did this happen? And you need to do the emotional inner work. You need to do that. You don't get let off the hook from unpacking the situation. However, from a weight loss standpoint, you're probably fine if you just get back on it. Because let's go back to the easy math. Wait, where's my iPad? That would be the easiest way. You know what? Here, let me pull up this will be much easier with a spreadsheet to show you what I'm talking about. Sorry, y'all, on TikTok, you don't get to see the spreadsheet. If you want to see the spreadsheet, you need to come over to YouTube, Chris Terrell Coaching, and that will bring it up. All right. All right, so I'm a Keynote user here. There we go. And hold on. I want to see the comments. I can't see the YouTube comments, so we're going to put those up here. One moment. I have to rearrange my windows. There we go. All right, so we have here, let's say we've got Monday. Do this cross top or Sunday, Monday, doing this live. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is that going to do Saturday? No, I'll have to do it this way. Still learning Pages. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Perfect. No, that's not how you do Sunday. All right, we've got our days here. And let's, I'm going to narrow these up a little bit so we can see all these at once. Oh, good, it does do that. I'm still, as I said, still learning. Oh, it does all those at once. Interesting. Keeps it proportional. What if I do a double click? Oh, love it. Love it. All right. Expand. Okay, perfect. So we've got the days of the week here. Can I zoom in a little bit so that you can see that? There we go. We'll do it right here. So I think you all can see that, hopefully. And I'm going to put the number of calories. So here let's say we have budget. And then we have actual. And then we have difference. Okay? So let's say you budgeted to eat 1,500 calories every single day. Okay? That was your budget, 1,500 calories a day. So let's explain why a binge isn't as detrimental as you might think a binge is. Let me pull up the comment here so that you all can see what question we're answering. So I'll put that down here. Okay. So let's say you go through the week and you do 1,500 here, and then you do 1,465, and then you do 1,578, and then you do 1,455, and then you do 1,699, and then you comes to Friday. All right, and Friday comes around, and you're just your bestest bud, your bestest eating buddy, right? You know, y'all have been eating buddies for like forever. Like, you know each other's special favorite orders. You are just, you're just really, really good eating buddies, right? So your eating buddy calls you. We got to celebrate something, right? I just got a new job. We got to go celebrate. And you don't want to make your eating buddy feel bad, or maybe you need to celebrate, right? And you can call all your eating buddies. It's my birthday. Let's go have an eating buddy celebration, whatever you want to do, all right? And so you have 2,200 calories for 2,300 calories for that day. You just totally, you're doing good. You get to the end, you're like, YOLO, and then you just go at it. You start hitting the drinks, your inhibitions go down a little bit, and you start eating. Next thing you know, you went over by 700 calories for the day. You had 2,300 calories in one day at the end of the week. And you're just like, no, the week is ruined. I'm just the worst person ever. So let's just kind of look at the situation here for a second. Let's talk about psychologically how you should approach this and how you should not, because there's a smart way and there's a dumb way. And I want you to do it the smart way, not the stupid way. Seriously, don't do things the stupid way. So let's look here at the difference, okay? So we are, by this point, let's add all that up. We are a total of minus 977. I'm looking down here on the bottom left-hand side of the screen where it shows that here, okay? So minus, here, I'll total it up, equals the sum of all of this, okay? So, nope, stop. The delta. All right, so 977. As long as this is a negative number, you are in a deficit. That's what's so cool about this. You're in a deficit. But sorry, y'all, you're not seeing this. If you want to see this, you got to come over to YouTube. So, because you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, we're looking at a whole spreadsheet. We got YouTube. Yeah, so, you're missing out. All right. So if you're trying to see this on YouTube, Chris Terrell Coaching, just type that in on YouTube and you'll find it. Okay, so 977. And you went over by 2,300 calories, okay? Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong way. Did I do this wrong? Oh, no, I did this. Hold on, I'm not mathing correctly. This is where I'm glad I caught this. Oh, yeah, no, this is positive, right. So 977, right? Wow, I know what I did wrong. Maintenance. I'm like, why is this not explaining correctly? You have a theoretical maintenance, in this case, we're going to say of 2,000. So this hypothetical situation person, there's the problem. I was like, why is that math not working? All right, 2,000 calories, and the difference is not from your budget, it's the difference of your maintenance to your actual. Sorry, y'all. I know I've made this more confusing, so I'm going to re-explain this. And I'm making this up on the spot, so this isn't like I had this presentation created. That's what I'm looking for. Perfect. So we'll move that down here. All right, so yeah, there we go. Now this is all looking right. Sum of this. Actually, all the way over. Perfect. So if this is a positive number, we are in a deficit. Okay. Aha. All right. Somebody may have caught this in the chat already on YouTube. Let me see. Did somebody already spot that I was doing this wrong? I did. All right. So looking here, look just at Sunday with me, everybody. Don't look at any other day. Your theoretical maintenance is 2,000 calories. So you budgeted 1,500 and you ate 500, which gives you a 500 deficit for the day. That means you were under your maintenance by 500 calories for the day. That's a good day, so to speak. Then the next day, 2,000 calories for your maintenance. You ate at 1,465. That's a deficit of 500. That's a good day. Here we go. 2,000 calories for your maintenance. You ate 1,575. That's 422 deficit. That's a good day. 2,000 calories budgeted or for your maintenance. You ate 1,455. That's a deficit of 545. That's a good day. 2,000 calories on Thursday is your maintenance. You ate $16.99. That's 300 deficit. That's a good day. 2,000 calories budgeted. You binged and you only ate 2,300. That's a good day. What? No, it's not. I went over. It's a bad day, you might be thinking. Well, look, again, from an emotional standpoint, yeah, it's a bad day. You shouldn't have done what you did, right? If you emotionally eat, you need to address that. The fact that you emotionally ate, why you emotionally ate. But remember, it's calories per week, not calories per day. Always remember that. So what is going to determine whether Friday, the binge, was good or bad? It's going to come down to what do you do these 2 days? So let's say the next day you wake up and you are just so down on yourself and you just double down, you go 2,500 calories. And then the next day you're so upset because you're like, I'm just going to start back on Monday, right? Let's do this again on Monday. And so you go another 2,500 calories. Okay. Well, so now here's the crazy thing. You actually still are in a deficit for the week. You're still actually at 1,000 calorie deficit for the week, even though you went over on these days. That's because on these days, you were actually at your deficit. Well, let's do a different scenario here, okay? Let's say instead, you wake up the next morning and go, I shouldn't have done that, right? I ate more than I should. So instead, you just eat 1,500 calories. And then the next day, you eat 1,500 calories. Is this ideal? No. But look at it. You're still 3,000 calories at a deficit, even though on Thursday you went over your budget. Because it all adds up. One day doesn't make a hill of beans difference. One day does not make a difference. If you want to make a difference, you got to look at the week. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense to explain it that way. Good question, Mary. All right, let's go back to the comments. P.S. TikTok. Hey, if you want to get in on this, you can come over to YouTube, and I'm taking the comments over there. I do see that one of you right here just said 2,300 calories is not a binge. Sure it is. There's no calorie limit that defines a binge. Binge, it all comes down to the intent, and it comes down to your mindset. That's what determines if it's a binge or not calories. If you think only a certain calorie numbers determine a binge, that's a problem. All right. Coming back here. Yeah, I think you're talking about the calories here. Let's look at this one. See, I've restarted my own weight loss journey about a month ago. First thing I've done is make sure I track everything I ate normally. It was a real eye-opener how much I was actually eating. Oh, yeah. Yeah, calorie tracking creates so much powerful awareness. Oh, and you're in the UK. Well, hello over there in the UK. Do I believe in food addiction? I truly feel like I'm not in control. It feels like an addiction problem. Oh, I need to stop rolling over my headphone thing. Hold on. Put that in my pocket. All right, let's talk a bit about food addiction. And to do that, I'm going to come here to this book, which is, I'll show you in a second. Hold on. Let me get to the section. I don't remember off the top of my page. 27? Yeah, here it is. So the book is The 8 Keys to End Emotional Eating. And this is in response to the question that Jamie asked, which is, do I believe in food addiction? I truly feel like I'm not in control, and it feels like an addiction problem. So I totally prescribe to the mindset that he portrays in this book regarding food addiction. So I'm just going to read it, like if I may. This is on page 26 out of this book, if anybody wants to find this and look at it later. On the topic of behavioral addictions, I'll address one presumed cause for emotional eating that I find very unhelpful: the belief that food itself can be addictive. Using the term addiction to describe emotional eating isn't wrong if it's meant as a metaphor, as in, I'm just addicted to this chocolate cake. Resisting an unwanted impulse to eat can be just as difficult as resisting any chemical addiction. But sometimes, when the term addiction is used in the context of emotional eating, it's meant to be taken literally. that the behavior is caused by physical dependence on a substance, in this case, food. I have a problem with that use of the term because it blurs an important distinction between psychological compulsions and chemical dependency, and ignoring that distinction can get in the way of overcoming the behavior. A compulsion refers to a behavior that you feel you must do to bring some psychological relief. An addiction refers to physical dependence on a chemical substance that your body needs, and without which you'll experience potentially dangerous physical reactions. Addiction to a chemical substance has 3 unique characteristics. So this is addiction to a substance, not to a psychological behavior, to a substance. The first is that it involves a substance that is normally not used by the body, nor is it necessary for survival, but it has a chemical effect on the reward center of the brain when it's introduced. The second is that when it's used to repeatedly trigger the reward center, the brain develops a tolerance to the substance, which becomes less effective in producing the rewarding response. At this point, the user may increase the amount used until it produces the effect again. The third is that after the brain has become accustomed to the substance, it becomes dependent upon it. The reason for this is that being without it is now abnormal, which will cause the person to experience symptoms of withdrawal. This can range from a mild headache, like caffeine withdrawal, to tremors, seizures, delirium, and even death caused by withdrawal from prolonged, heavy use of certain addictive substances, including alcohol. Let's see how a psychological compulsion like emotional eating compares to those characteristics of addiction. Food, of course, naturally has a chemical makeup, and it's rewarding to the brain. That's important because it encourages us to seek out needed calories, which, for almost all of human history, were scarce. But since the body relies on food for nutrition as a necessary part of its functioning, it does not meet the first criterion of introducing a non-vital chemical substance to the body. For the same reason, food doesn't alter the way our brain and body normally function, so we can't develop a tolerance to it. So it fails the second criterion too. Since food is always necessary to sustain life, there can be no new normal state the body first gets used to and then withdraw from. Strike 3. The editors of the DSM-5 conclude in their introductions to the section Substance-Related and Addictive Disorders that groups of repetitive behaviors, which some term behavioral addictions, are not included at this time because there is insufficient peer-reviewed evidence. Beyond a lack of evidence, it's important to be careful about using the term addiction when referring to emotional eating, because it could imply that the treatment should follow the model for treating a true chemical dependency. An important part of addiction treatment is to abstain from the substance, which is, of course, impossible with food. As I'll explain later on, even trying to abstain from certain foods that are designated as off-limits, like sugar or refined flour, can make the problem of emotional eating worse. That's exactly what most people who chronically diet feel they must do, and it's a big part of the reason that diets fail. So thank you for going with me on that journey of letting me read this. So food is not addictive, and no, Sam, sugar is not an addictive substance. So sugar, it literally was just reading here, it doesn't pass the bill. Yes, I take clients from the UK, potato. So do I believe that food is an addiction? No. Do I believe you can become addicted to a behavior around food? Yes. So you have to separate behavioral addiction, not food addiction, because you would address these separately. You would address these in different ways. So if you want to dive into that, it's 8 Keys to End Emotional Eating by Dr. Howard Farkas. Phenomenal book. Good question. Let's see. Let me catch up on comments. I'm so far behind. I'm sorry. Let's see. I've used our All right. What are my thoughts on 0-calorie sodas? People told me diet sodas actually make you gain more weight. No, it is physically impossible for a diet soda to create weight gain. A diet soda is impossible to create weight gain because it has 0 calories. It cannot make you gain weight. Now, what you're talking about, though, is actually a bastardization of the indirect effect of Diet Coke. And it's not Diet Coke. It's 0-calorie sodas. For some people, having the sweetness triggers more sweetness. Like they want to keep craving it. They're using the Diet Coke not to just sort of like handle a sweet craving. They're actually indulging on the sweetness and they want to keep doing it. Has nothing to do with the calories of it. It's just like they can't stop. So, and it can trigger more sweetness in desiring to eat. And there has been some talk from people that doing so creates this desire to eat more. And it's like, oh, I'm eating this, therefore it negates that. But honestly, I think more people are smarter than that. Some people aren't. Some people are actually completely clueless. And they think having one negates the other, but I'm not. You can't help everybody at every level. Some people have to open their mind up enough to learn new truths. And so, but from a physiological standpoint, it's impossible for a diet soda to create weight gain. It would need calories for that to be the case. I was on Optavia program and lost 100 pounds 2 years later, nearly back to where I was. Very disheartening. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Holly asks, how often do I go live? So first, if you don't want to miss a live, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. But I go live every Monday. That's how often I go live. What is the easiest way to calculate how many calories are in a serving of a homemade dish such as a casserole? Use the recipe builder feature in MyFitnessPal. That is the best way. Let's see. Any other questions? Mary Saul, do I have any recommendations for a calorie counter app? The one you'll use. That's my recommendation. The best one is the one you'll use. But if you're looking for one, Lose It and MyFitnessPal. I'm a MyFitnessPal person. I love them both. Oh, hey, some of y'all came over from TikTok. Hey, good to see you. Hey, TikTok, if you want to come over, we're over on YouTube. Let me let y'all meet each other. YouTube, meet TikTok. TikTok, meet YouTube. Good to have you over there. So here on YouTube, the topic for the day is grief and emotional healing and weight loss. And I'm about to switch gears and talk about that here in a second. So very much looking forward to that. Let's see. What's the guild thing I'm hearing about? Oh, all right. So let me tell you about the guild. The guild is my weight loss membership and coaching program. I first got started doing weight loss training, weight management training on a one-on-one basis. And it was going well. But I discovered there were some things that people needed. One of the things that people needed was a community aspect. So I created a small group coaching program to provide a little bit of that. But I discovered it needs to be so much more. And because people need varying levels of intensity. And so then I decided to create the guild, where I created a membership community aspect, as well as I provide online trainings. And then we do things as a group, as a community. We do live meetups. We do live in-person challenges and events. And we run Tough Mudders together. My picture's over there. I don't want to get up again. Let's see, do I have any handy? Oh, wait, here. I'll show you. I got photos of let me show you some of the stuff that we do. This is a fun picture. Here, let me show you this. So this is a fun picture where we were all getting ready to go in this super bog. But so everybody you see here behind me, these are people in my weight loss group. And there was a whole bunch of us. And it was just so much fun. But we do, I do in-person seminars. And then the groups do things themselves. We do challenges together. I do coaching every Monday. And I respond, or it's designed to help you throughout a 100+ pound journey. So I teach you a lot over and over and over, all sorts of different information. This month, it's all about habit. Last month, it was all about awareness, and with a heavy focus last month on emotional eating. This month, it's about habits. It's about changing what you do. And We also have we use an app called Marco Polo, which we're working with Marco Polo directly to make the app even better for our community. I've got over 250 hours of educational content about weight loss, covering, you'll find maybe 20% of it is the technical side, but the rest of it is all on the mindset and lifestyle side of things, really designed to help you out. So that's a bit about what the Guild is. I would not say it's like a Weight Watchers thing, that's for sure. But all right, let me double check here because I'm about to switch gears. All right. If you got any more questions about the Guild, though, I can see there's several Guild members here in the comment section, so feel free to ask whatever questions. I'm just going to let Guild members answer from their own experience because it's designed to let people get what they need out of it. Okay, let me shift gears for a second. So first, I'm going to show something. So this is my bag that I carry with me everywhere. And I wanted to show you what lives in this bag, my everyday carry, so to speak. So first is a laptop. But that's not surprising. I'm always carrying around a laptop. Then I keep these things, which are my marking devices. So sometimes if I want to just grab a book and go, I can just grab this. And then I can flip this on there because I like to note my books, mark them up. So then I could just, if I want to grab a single book, I can grab that and go. But I leave these. And so on one of them, I just do a blue pen and a black pen. This one, I do the little marky things for pages. I do a highlighter, a blue pen, a black pen, and a ruler. A surprisingly handy thing when studying my books. So this lives in my bag all the time. I also keep an extra bookmark. It's a magnetic style one that was given to me as a gift from my wife. It says, "I love you always." So I love this very much. But I keep this. It's a cool style bookmark. Let's say you're reading, you just do it like that. So it's a fun distinct. So if I'm reading a book in the moment, because then I can just let it close and I don't have to worry about it. But then I wanted to show you, I also keep this, which is a device called a Remarkable. So it's an e-ink note-taking thing that is just for notes. That's all it's for. And I use it to work on my book. And then I wanted to show you, then I keep one journal, two journals, three journals. I keep three journals. They have different purposes. And then I keep, which these were in the bag. So I have this book that I keep in here at all times. Which is Letting Go, is the one I'm currently reading, by David R. Hawkins. And then I'm currently reading this one, Alan Watts, the book. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And the other two books that I'm currently doing right now, I'm just starting. How We Change and 10 Reasons Why We Don't. And How to Change. I read this a couple years ago. I bought my own copy. And I checked it from the library a few years ago when I first started and I didn't want to spend any money. But now I'm going to buy it because I want to study it again because it was really, really good. And I'm willing to bet after a few years I'm going to get more out of the book. But I just wanted to show, I carry these everywhere. So I've always got the books. I've always got the journals. And I just wanted you to see, and right there, that's old journals. So the reason why I wanted to show this is I wanted to show receipts. This is my everyday carry bag. And when I say have it, you can see marked, highlighted. I take notes about it in the journals. This one isn't very old. I mean, and you can see it's just pages and pages and pages of thoughts, of ideas, of stuff I'm studying. Same with the other. But the reason why I do this is a lesson I learned from my dad. The importance of studying. Studying yourself, studying life, going through personal growth. This is my favorite picture of my dad and I. Actually, I think I have a digital copy here. I'm going to let you see it full screen. Well, maybe. Yeah, let me get down here. Well, thought I had a folder of my dad. Sorry. Actually, no, as soon as I said it, I was like, I actually do want to show you this photo. I may not be able to. All right. So, well, here, I'll let y'all see it here on TikTok. So that's a photo of my dad and I. I'll hold it up here so you can see. Anyway, it's my dad. We're at a zoo. I'm a little kid. And it's like how my dad's looking at me in this photo. Oh, here it is. I'll let y'all see it now. There we go. Just like how my dad's looking at me in this, you know. Just a father that looks at his kid, and I just think like, wonder what he was thinking as he was looking at me. And the reason why this is so important is because that's my dad. And today is the 5-year anniversary of when he died. And a lot has happened in 5 years since he passed away. A lot has happened since he passed. And put that right there where I can see it. Actually, that's too close to the edge of the thing. I don't want it to get knocked down. It's just going to sit right there. He loved this book, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. He would carry copies like this one. I found stacks of this. He would just buy this little thin, cheap version of it, and he would just give it to everybody. He would just give it away. This little copy. And I wish I had taken it and really studied it when he was alive. And I could have maybe studied it with him. But I didn't. I had to learn about it after. I took it seriously after he died. But it is a good book. It is a good book. Each of us is literally what we think, our character being the complete sum of all our thoughts. It's just written right here. My dad believed that what you think becomes reality. And I decided to choose to believe that. And when he died, I was going through his stuff, as you do when someone dies. And I was one going through his emails. And I found an email that he had sent to himself. And in the back, this is right here, I took it and I put it in a program. I don't know anything about it. I don't know the story behind where he picked this up. I don't know what he was thinking when he wrote it. I just know I found it in his email. Coming towards 68 years on my earth journey, I can confidently say that this is an amazing journey for all of us. Life is full of peaks and valleys, pleasure and suffering, joy and happiness. Challenges that will stretch us beyond what we thought we could endure as we go through each of our life pathways. We can be positive or more negative in our natural thinking, which only changes our perceptions of the pathways, because regardless, we are going on them. Each pathway is there for us to grow and move closer to our ultimate earth purpose. The beauty is we are given glimpses and sometimes big visions that will propel us forward with a giant step toward our goal. I picture my dad and my mom back there. You know, this passage my dad wrote is so profound. And I've discovered sometimes the most profound stuff, it's the easiest to just gloss right over, to just ignore. Life goes on, no matter what. It so relentlessly goes on that it feels impersonal, or that it feels personal, at how relentlessly life goes on. Each pathway is there for us to grow and move closer to our ultimate earth purpose. When my dad died, I was now on a new pathway. I talk a bit about it in my podcast from Friday, about that pathway. Your weight loss journey is your pathway for you to grow. When my dad died, I realized I was unhappy with my life. If you had asked me, you'd cornered me point blank and asked me if I was happy with my life, I would have lied. I'd have told you I was happy. I'd have told you everything's fine. I would have said, I'm actually good with how much I weigh. I'm good with my job. I'm good with my relationships. I'm good with my relationship with myself. Yeah, it's nice with me. I'd have lied. I'd have lied to your face. But the thing is, I wouldn't have been lying to you. That would have just been collateral damage. It would have been just an unfortunate byproduct. Because I'd have been lying to myself. I didn't want to admit to myself that I was unhappy with my life. That it wasn't how I wanted it. That I was supposed to be doing more than I was. I was supposed to be experiencing more than I was. I didn't want to admit that to myself. So if you had cornered me and asked me if I was happy with life, I would have said yes, because I would not have wanted to admit it to myself that I am not living up to my potential, that I am not going for it, that in fact I was doing everything possible to ensure that I lived a life of mediocrity. Work hard, earn a living, raise a family, then I die. Leaving nothing behind. 100 years from now, no one would remember my name. Which, who cares? If that's what you want, that's fine. But to me, I didn't want that. And I'm sitting there in front of a church at a funeral for my dad, looking at a room full of people from a lifetime of impact. And I was like, if I died, I'm not sure how many people would be in the room. But if you had asked me, I'd have said I was good with that. But I'd have been lying. I wanted it. And I was embarrassed to myself that I wasn't doing anything to go get it. And then my dad died, and the illusion shattered. And I looked around my life and realized it's not what I want. And it would seem so easy to become overwhelmed because of how much of it I didn't want. What I wanted was dwarfed by the things I didn't want. If we're talking about just current results. And I just watched my dad die. What if I did nothing? What if I kept going the way I was going? What would my life be like when I end up in my urn? When I end up in my box? Because you all end up in a box. You either end up in a box full of ashes or you end up in a box with your body. Either way, it's where your body ends up, is in a box. And when I get to my box, that means right before I was in my box, there's a moment where I'm still alive and I'm not dead. Now, my dad, I got to watch him. He knew he was dying. That means he got to sit and contemplate his life. Did I do all I said I was going to do? Did I have all I said I wanted to have? Did I experience all I wanted to experience? Did I live life to the fullest? He got to sit and ponder those questions for a month and a half. Now, some people, it's instant. They don't get a moment. Planes crash, people die. Blink of an eye. Happens. There are times where you don't know it's your last moment. But a lot of us, we get to know it's coming. And if I were in that moment, reflecting on my life, what would I think? Never thought about that until my dad died. And I watched him do it, which and then I in turn did that to myself. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what it is I'm about to go do? Would I want to go live the day I'm about to go live? If today were the last day of my life. And the reality is, the answer would have been no, most days. Is today, hey, this is your last day. Is this how you want to spend it? Fuck no. And then the next day, what about this day? Is this how you want to spend the last day of your life? No. Then the next day, is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? If today was your last day, is this how you'd want to live? No. What about today? Next day, it's been a week. No. What about today? It's been a month. A month of days that you didn't want if they were your last day. Do you want to do today? No. What about today? Oh, today's good. Awesome. Then the next day comes around. What about today? No. Here's the problem. One day you're going to be right. One day it will be your last day. One day will be the last day you're alive. And it's easy to think that day is so far out in the future. That's so far away. I don't need to worry about that right now. So a couple years ago, I went to a cemetery where a bunch of my family's buried. And I had a little experiment. How hard would it be to find a tombstone of a person born after me? Consider what I just said there. A person born after me has a tombstone. Took me 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all it took. Now, maybe I got lucky. But within 5 minutes, I found a tombstone of a person born after me that had been in their box for years. So no, your life's not guaranteed. Your life's not assured. You could die tomorrow. You could die today. So ask yourself, same question I did 5 years ago. Look around you. Look at the life you've been living this last week. If last week was the last week of your life, is that the week you'd want to live? Is this week going to be any different? What are you doing to make this week different? I was asking myself these questions. Right after I found out my dad was going to die, we were driving around a park just a few minutes from his house where I now go run all the time. I know right where we were when I turned and asked what I just said. It's actually very close to where I like to park when I go run. We're driving down this curvy road, surrounded by trees. It's a beautiful summer day, actually, not much unlike what I have today. The car would have been cool inside. No music was playing, just the sound of the car driving down the road. And it's hitting me. My dad's about to die. I just found out, like the night before. Like, less than 2 months, cancer is about to take him from me. There's nothing we can do about it. Like, it's settle your affairs. Yeah, we were trying a treatment, but look, at best, the treatment gets us 6 months. And it was like a 20 or 30% chance that it was going to do that. And we knew more than likely he was going to get into it and quickly realize that he doesn't want to do this because it's going to, whatever little quality of life or whatever little life he had left was going to just ruin the quality of it. That was the decision he was facing. There's so many people that face cancers. Do you do treatment that might work, or do you but it might ruin whatever you have left, or do you just enjoy what you have left when you're terminal? And I knew my dad. I knew in his head he was facing this choice. And I knew that I was also coming to terms with the fact that my dad was about to die. My best friend. The person that's given me advice in every single life decision. The person that's helped me through every failure. The person that's helped me through every victory. The person that's helped me through every life transition. No matter what, I knew I could just pick up the phone and call, and I'd have advice. I'd get a master class on life. And I knew I was about to lose this. Sorry, the live stream over here is... So I turned to my dad and I said, this is your journey. Whatever you choose to do, I'm going to support you. I can't imagine what you're feeling. But whatever you choose, this is your journey and I'm going to support you. And he said, thank you. Because I didn't want him to think that whatever he chose, he was disappointing me. I couldn't speak for anybody else, but I wanted to make sure that he knew I was not disappointed. And then I turned to him and I said, if there's anything, Dad, if there's anything you've been waiting to tell me, anything you've been waiting to teach me until I'm a little older or until I've gone through something else in life or until I've learned something, would you go ahead and tell me now? Even if I won't understand. I asked the dying man to give me his final piece of advice, who was my father. And he said he'd think about it and he'd get back to me. Sometime after that, I'm back at home in Kansas City. Phone rings. I'm in my garage. My dad says, remember that question you had for me? I said, yeah, I do. And he said, I have an answer for you. Now, at the time, I was gunning for the COO position at my company. I've been gunning for it for a while. I wanted it. I thought if I worked hard enough, they would give it to me. You need to ask, but I wasn't asking. Just hoping my work would speak for me. And he said, stop waiting around. If there's something you want, you need to ask for it. And if you don't get it, you need to move on. You got to stop letting yourself be not going for what you want. What I realized now what my dad was saying was stop being ruled by fear. But I bundled it all into 3 powerful words. Stop waiting around. So here I am, looking at my life, realizing that every day is a day that I would not want to be my last day of life. Looking at the life going, I actually know what it is I want. I'm better than most. I actually know what I want, and I don't have it. And I want it. But I was afraid to admit that I want it. I was afraid to get my hopes up, because what if I get my hopes up? What if I say I want all these amazing things, and then life doesn't let me have it? What now? Can I handle that? No, I didn't think I could handle it. I didn't think I could handle it. So I'm not even going to admit I want it. Do you want this? No, I don't want that. Really? You sure? Yeah, no, I don't want that. No, of course I wanted it. Of course I did. Of course I wanted to be thin. Of course I wanted to be in shape. Of course I wanted to love myself. Of course I wanted to have to worry about my money. Of course I didn't want to have to worry about my health. Of course I didn't have to worry about I want to worry about how I'm going to pay the bills. Of course I didn't want to be in debt. Of course I wanted to be in a relationship where me and my other person, we are head over heels obsessed with each other. Of course I want to have a family. Of course I want to live a life of peace. Of course I want to go on these great vacations. Of course I want to sit in the middle seat of a plane and not be uncomfortable. Of course I want to be able to sit in small seats and not have to complain anymore about the world being full of not big enough chairs. Of course I want to be able to just pick something off the ground without it being a deal, without it being a thing. Without having to do the one leg swing back, let me hang on to something and pick something up from the ground like it's a big deal. Pick it up with my fingertips just to save me from having to go that much further to the ground. Of course I wanted to give that up. Of course I wanted the COO job. I've been working for it for years. Of course I wanted all these things. But if you'd asked me, I'd have lied. But I wouldn't have been lying to you. You would have been an unfortunate byproduct. I would have been lying to me. Because I didn't want to get my hopes up. And my father, his last piece of advice before he died was stop waiting around. Because I know he could see me. He could see I wasn't where I wanted to be. Because I see now that parents can see that shit. He could see it. And he knew my time must not have been right. I must not have been ready. He was self-aware enough to know that it's up to me. And he gave me the perfect piece of wisdom. I don't know how he knew. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. He can't tell me, unfortunately. But he gave me the perfect piece of advice. To stop waiting around. Because let's be real, that's what I was doing. I was spending my life waiting for somebody to come save me. For somebody to come give me what I wanted. For someone to come tell me I'm enough. Maybe if enough people tell me I'm enough, I'll believe it. Maybe someone will tell me they love me and I'll accept myself. But my dad gave me the perfect advice at the perfect time. As I was sitting there contemplating my existence, realizing I'm not living the life of my dreams. And I was having reality slap me senseless with the fact that I was doing nothing to do anything about it. I wasn't getting what I wanted, and it was my fault because I was doing nothing to do anything about it. I was settling. I was settling for good enough all across my life. Finances, good enough. My weight, good enough. My health, good enough. My job, good enough. My romantic relationships, good enough. My friend relationship, good enough. Just good enough everywhere. I was basically the fucking government. Good enough for government work, good enough for me. Good enough. Fuck that. Fuck good enough. See, I tried. Years and years and years and years of good enough. And you know what it got me? Good enough. That's all it got me. It didn't bring the lasting peace and happiness and joy that I wanted in life. It didn't bring fulfillment. I was more interested in getting the approval of everybody else. I was more interested in doing whatever I needed to get a praise from somebody or to not be gotten onto at least. You know, I avoided anything like the play that made me feel bad. Oh, it's not good on the scale. Might make me feel bad about my weight. Maybe I needed to feel bad. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe the problem, I was doing everything possible to ensure that I never felt bad. Maybe that was the problem. Because it was. I was searching for my self-worth outside of myself. I was searching for my self-love in others. And I never found it. The reason why I never found it is because you'll never find it there. No amount of love from your kids is going to be enough. No amount of love from your parents is going to be enough. No love from your spouse is going to be enough. No amount of accolades from society is going to be enough. It all comes from you in here. And I was waiting around for something or someone to come save me. And my dad, who he knew he was my number one supporter and confidant in life. Joe, you can find this on my YouTube channel. That's where I'm doing this if you want to watch it back. Sorry, I was just saying something to the TikTok people over here. I didn't lose my weight. I outgrew all the reasons why I had it in the first place. I was fat because I was settling for good enough. You know, if my life isn't going to be what I want, might as well enjoy myself in whatever way I can. The reality is, you know why I was fat? It's because if I wanted it, I had it. Because I'm already settling for good enough. Fuck. Might as well enjoy the food. I have control over that. Yeah. No one's making me feel bad for it, right? I've done everything humanly possible to not feel bad about getting fatter every year. I've done, yeah. You know, my buddies, they're all big. We all eat the same shit together. You know, none of my buddies are active or move, so I don't have to get I don't have to get FOMO, right? No FOMO in my life because I just made sure I wasn't friends with anybody that'd give me FOMO. You know, let's not get on the scale. I didn't even own one for so long because the last thing I wanted was to be aware of my weight. I might feel bad. I'd buy clothes that were too big and then I wouldn't go buy them because shopping was just traumatic. I was looking at old videos of myself when I was younger. All my clothes, I just looked pathetic. I was sloppy. Stuff was dragging. You could see holes in my clothes because I'm wearing them too long because I know what it was. I hated clothes shopping so much that I would literally wear clothes until they were falling apart because I hated clothes shopping. It was just miserable feeling. It was demoralizing. Nothing fit that I liked. I had to buy it because it fit, not because I liked it. So rather than feel that pain, I just saved myself from it. Let's buy stuff with stretchy pants. Let's get elastic band everything. Let's buy too big so I can grow into it. Huh. I did. Turned out you buy the space. It's like a house. You get a big enough house. Next thing you know, you find shit to fill the house with. You buy clothes big enough. Next thing you know, you fill the clothes out. That was me. That's why I was overweight. I was eating my feelings. All of them. It wasn't just the stressful feelings. Oh, hell no. Happy days, celebrate. Sad days, celebrate. Average day, celebrate. Just food. Whatever I want. If I wanted it, I had it. I indulged every fancy at every moment. Telling myself no, Life tells me no enough. I already don't get to have what I want. I didn't want the body I had. I didn't want the life I had. I didn't want the house I had. I didn't want the relationships I had. I didn't want the friendships I had. I didn't want the job I had. I didn't want the income. I didn't want the financial situation. I didn't want none of it. I didn't want the spiritual life I had. I didn't want the relationship with myself. I wanted none of it. But you know what I could have? I could fucking have some food whenever I want, because I'm a grown-ass adult with a debit card, and no one's going to tell me no. Least of all me. Fuck. So of course I got fat. I never said no. I'm going to live like a king, eat whatever I want. And then of course I'd blame it on shit. I'd blame it on everything outside of me, just like lots of people do every day. I was just like everybody else. When my dad died, this time 5 years ago, rewind the clock 5 days, I was settling. I was convincing myself that I'm okay being big. It's fine. I was giving up hope. I was writing myself off. My fucking dad had to go get cancer. Not his fault. Just sometimes I get mad at fucking cancer, because fuck cancer. And he said, stop waiting around. That pain was one of the greatest gifts I've ever could have been given. That realization that I am fucking miserable. And I've been miserable for a long time. That acceptance of my reality was the best gift I ever could have been given. After my dad died, the pain and the ache from the pit in my stomach that was voided hurt so bad. It's like if I looked inside, I was worried it would suck me into it, swallow me up whole. So I just didn't look in it. It was too much. Whenever I doubted myself, I'd call my dad. Whenever I felt afraid, I'd call my dad. He'd help me find some courage. So even though my life wasn't what I wanted, those times where I would find the will to make some changes, and I'd be so scared. What if I made it worse? What if it didn't work out? What if I ended up worse off than I started? What if I didn't get it? What if I felt ultimate failure? My dad, I could pick him up. I could pick the phone and call him. And he'd help me find a little belief. Fuck, and then he was gone. And I didn't feel ready. Nope. My dad died right as I realized my life is exactly how I don't want it. I mean, right where I could have used some help. Right when I needed it, he died. I'd looked around. Realized my life isn't how I want, and I'm going to have so much work to fix it. I had no one to call. I had no one to talk to. Because I was getting out of my marriage. I was getting out of my friendships. I was getting out of my job. I was moving. I had no one to call. And anytime I'd think, oh, this is really hard, call Dad, that would trigger the grief. I would catch myself. I would be driving, pondering my problem. And without even realizing it, I would reach down and grab the phone to call my dad. And I'd hold it. And I'd be like, there's no one to call. So I just set it down. And I felt so alone. But I just kept coming to my dad's advice that he gave me before he died. Stop waiting around. So I did. I stopped. It was so scary. I don't talk about it a ton, but y'all, I nuked my entire life. All of it. All of it. All of it. I even sold almost everything I owned. I owned a lot of shit. Five years later, I look around my life. And everything's exactly how I want it. I do this stuff here online because you all have been here on this journey with me for a long time. Some of you actually have been on this journey with me. You saw me when I was still losing weight. People have come and gone. But the microphone, it's always been here. This microphone's helped me heal. Because I felt so alone. But when I went online and I shared how I feel, and I took the brakes off. I just said, let me just unapologetically show you who the fuck I am. Take me or leave me. This is what I'm feeling, though. I don't know if this is normal. I just know this is how I feel, and I got nobody to talk to about it. And I talked online. And people said, me too. Me too, Chris. Not the exact same situation, because none of y'all had my dad. None of y'all had my life. But when someone be like, Chris, when my dad died, I felt that alone too. When my mom died, I felt that alone. I remember, you're not crazy. My dad died 10 years ago. It gets better, but it still hurts. Give me a little hope. Talk about the pain of grief. Somebody would tell me too. Talk about how hard it is to lose weight. Me too. But I would always hear the stories of people 10, 15 years down the line saying, it gets better. I just kept latching onto that. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better. It'll be better. I gotta stop waiting around. I gotta do something about it. I gotta ask. And if I don't get it, I gotta move on. That's what my dad said. Five years ago, my life was nothing what I wanted. In any facet. If you take a wheel of life, nothing was fulfilled. 5 years later, Dad, I did it. I took your advice. It was really hard. It was really scary. Sometimes I really doubted if I was going to make it. It got really dark when the pandemic showed up. It got hard. But I did it. I turned it around. 5 years. When my dad died, I didn't feel prepared and ready. 5 years later, I realized I was. I was ready. I was ready. But I needed him to die for me to know that. Oh, I had to go off in the world finally, and I realized that it was always me all along. I called you when I needed some courage so that you could help me find it. I called you when I was scared so you could help me find my courage to act anyway. You would say something and I would give myself permission. And when you died and I didn't have you, I had to learn how to give myself permission anyway. And that was really scary because now I look to your life and you didn't have a you. Your dad wasn't like you. And somehow you did it. You built a good life. It must have been so scary. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to do. I look around, I've got a problem I've never been in before. There's no books telling me what to do. I have to just make a decision and be willing to get it wrong. And then just be willing to not beat myself up when I find out I totally fucked it up and I got to change directions. When I was doubting myself, and I'd want to call you, I couldn't. And that was one of the best gifts you could have given me. Was leaving me. Because as long as you were there, I was always going to go to you. And as long as I was going to you, I was preventing myself from seeing my own capacity for greatness. We had so many years together. I learned a lot. You taught me well. My dad wrote his name on this. I found it. And I don't get to talk to you anymore and hear what you have to say. But the beauty is I don't need to anymore. I don't need to. So thanks, Dad. I've never introduced you to my friends. This is what I did with what you taught me. After you died, there were so many people that talked about one thing. They all had their own unique story. But it was always the same thing. The way you treated them left them feeling better. Apologies for the snot sound. I want to introduce you to my friends. Because of your example, to me, I just did what you did. In my own way, out of my own flair. That's part of the fun. Your life mattered. None of these people even know you. And yet, you helped them. I'm standing upon the seashore, a ship at my side. Spreads her white sails in the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and the sky come to mingle to each other. Then someone at my side says, "There. She is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight. That is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she ever was when she left my side. And she is still just as able to bear the load of living freight to her distant port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming. And other voices ready to take up the glad shout. Here she comes. We can be more positive or more negative
in our natural thinking, which only changes the perceptions of the pathways, because regardless, we're going on them. Each pathway is there for us to grow and move closer to our ultimate earth purpose. The beauty is we are given glimpses and sometimes big visions that will propel us forward with a giant step toward our goal. When my dad died, I chose to be positive. And that made all the difference. Thanks for listening, everybody. I needed to get this off my chest. And my dad's words always helped me. Help me find a little courage to go do the hard things of life. And I hope you find the same thing I found. Which is you're going to be okay. Is that you got everything you need. A beautiful life is just right at your feet, and it's been there all this time. And all you got to do is pick it up and say, this is mine. This one's mine. My weight loss was a byproduct of becoming happy. And becoming happy turned into peace. And then I didn't need happiness anymore. And I didn't need the weight anymore. And I didn't need the food anymore. I didn't need to escape my life anymore. You're the one you've been waiting for your whole life. I was the one I was waiting for mine. Whomever you go to in your life to have you help you get through life, make sure that they always are pointing you back to yourself. You. You're all you need. We'll all help you. I want to help. I want to help you do it. If all you think I do is teach you to lose weight, then you don't have a clue what I do. And if all you're trying to do is lose weight, well, let me know how that goes. Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up now. But I appreciate you letting me share some of my memories with you, some of my feelings with you. I hope that this normalizes it a little bit. This is how I process grief. I just lean into it and feel it, and I just talk. And it's amazing how much it helps. Just being here talking to you helps. That's why I made the kilt, actually, because you need people to talk to. But you need people to remind you that you're enough. You need people to remind you that you can do this. You need people to remind you that you matter. And as crazy as it sounds, you don't need to lose a single pound to love yourself, to be at peace with yourself, to be at joy with life. You don't need to lose a single pound. Life is a gift, and you have it now, right now. Enjoy life. Live life. The purpose of life is to be lived, I believe. To live it, that's the point. And life is an emotional experience. To be a human is an emotional experience. I don't know what it's like for other animals. I don't know what it's like for other entities in this existence. But I know what it's like for a human. And being a human is an emotional ride. And if the only way you know how to feel your feelings is with food, then that means you don't know how to feel your feelings. It's amazing how learning to feel your feelings will make weight loss easier. It's not enough. But here's the beauty. It doesn't matter if you have PCOS. It doesn't matter if you have menopause. It doesn't matter if you have low testosterone. It doesn't matter if you're injured. It doesn't matter if you don't have time. Learning to feel your emotions has nothing to do with any of that. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. If anybody's been in a 12-step program, you'll recognize the serenity prayer. Focus on the things you can change, that you can control. Find the wisdom to be able to tell the difference between that which you can control and that which you can't. And you'll notice that on the other side of an expressed feeling is relief, is peace, satisfaction. Feel what you feel. Let whatever happens happen. Your emotions are a gift. It's the gift of life. Your life is a gift. Enjoy it. Enjoy your present that you get to open every day. I wonder what today has to offer for you that you don't know is coming. How is today a gift? Find it. I'm going to go ahead and stop here now. And have a great rest of your day, everybody. It was so good to see you. I'll see you on our next stream.